I'm gonna hit record just so you know that. And what I'm doing is oh good, here's Marty too. Um, the reason why I'm recording it is just because it sucks if we weren't recording it, and we said something that was really awesome that we wanted to keep. At okay, wait a minute, I'm letting people in here. So, Burrick, hey, can you Siva to so love? Sorry, can you?
What up?
What's up?
How you doing, man?
Good, good. Can you say your name?
Svetoslav.
Sofislav. Okay, that's awesome. Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for showing up. I'm recording this, but that doesn't mean that I have anyone's permission to use it. Okay, I'm just recording it in case we do end up.
Well, you got mine.
Okay, great. And but I just want you to know that in the middle of this call, if someone was to suddenly say something that was private and then they didn't want it to get out, I want you to know that anyone can revoke that right for permission. So this is more for us, but I've done this too many times where halfway in the middle of it, I really regret that we weren't recording it because some really cool stuff was coming out. So not that I'm getting ready to say something really cool or fascinating. I'm just stating the quote rules for.
Great to know, and really great to converse with you. Finally.
Yeah, glad to have you. I am open to talk about whatever or anything, and yeah, so no pressure on anyone at all. But just speak up. I actually okay, Ashley, just so you know, you still haven't connected to audio, which is fine. You don't have to connect to audio. You could just be listening, which is okay. But I just want you to know that if you're wondering why, that's why. Also, guys, there's a chat too. You should see that if you would rather type or something, you have that option too. So. And yeah, I'm actually going to pour myself some water. Oh, there's Marty again. Good. Admit. Hey, Marty. Hey, Marty, you connected with audio?
Hi, James. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing pretty well.
Good to see you. You sound good.
Yeah.
Welcome to the live conference. This is being recorded. However, if anyone wants to revoke their right to have their recording used, that's fine too.
Got it.
And yeah, welcome. Where are you at, Marty?
Fort Collins, Colorado.
Oh, cool. Are they reporting riots there?
Thankfully, it's pretty quiet up here. And just about 2 hours north of Denver, but Denver is pretty hot right now from what I understand.
Yep. I got a message from a friend of mine in Colorado Springs, and apparently there is rioting being reported there. Being reported, though, could literally mean, hey, we bought a bunch of bricks and we set them out here on the street, and you guys are welcome to take them, because if you guys were to vandalize our store, we would actually make a ton of money because we've been shut down for months in the economic collapse, and insurance money would be a better profit for us than having to rehire everybody and get back to work. So I would expect that the riots will be invitations that are, that will go up in the big cities, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, it seems like people are playing both sides and more of this.
Yeah, it's a just like any pillage, you know. There's the light is on. There's vacancy now, and people can swoop in and take advantage of that.
Yeah. Um, and one amazing thing that occurred to me yesterday, and I don't know if you've had a chance to think about it or agree, but the whole mantra of the protest has become this "I can't breathe" thing, and that's like the original supposed symptom of the supposed COVID virus. And it occurred to me that they're just, you know, if they want to have a second wave that's more effective, they need everyone in their heads thinking that they already can't breathe. And
Yep.
then this next thing. So you get where I'm going with that. And I think that's just, it's like genius in a terrible, terrible way. But I think that's what they're doing.
I think you're onto something, and that certainly rings true with the prophecy of the 2017 Economist cover, where all the people were in yellow vests. Because what you end up happening is you have an organic yellow vest movement that was spurred by a bunch of bricks being dropped off, a bunch of setups basically occurring to spur this kind of reaction. And yeah, people are gonna. If you're going to drop chum in the water, there's going to be people that are going to come feed on it. And that's exactly what's happening. The I can't breathe thing even goes back, right? Because I was on Duke campus one day, many, many years ago, and there was another racial psyop cop death, right? And someone else was saying, I can't breathe. I forget the name of that one, but because the central statue in Duke had the same thing of I can't breathe. And then if you add that to Antifa, the covering of your face, right? The anonymity with COVID too, then you have the definitely stoking the fire of protest, right? Because you're combining all those elements. Hey, you can be anonymous and you can vandalize stuff, you know, and here's all it takes. So there's definitely been some invitations, but again, that's why I mentioned that any box store is going to benefit immensely from people throwing bricks into their windows and setting it on fire. I mean, seriously, there's a prime motivation for that to happen. That's good news for them. So I would imagine that in Minneapolis, a lot of corporations were sitting back watching it on television going, fuck yeah, those guys did a good job, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see where we can spread it. So
yeah.
Welcome, Paul King. You're not connected to audio yet, it doesn't look like, but that's okay too. No one has to be connected to audio, but I just want to say welcome to everyone when I can. And yeah, if anyone has a question or a topic or anything like that, you're more than welcome to say so. There's also a chat engine on the right. And yeah. Anybody see the SpaceX launch yesterday? There's an aperture thing which I think is really interesting. Some people are seeing a rodent on the primary burners, and other people are seeing ice. So some people see a rodent and other people see ice. Let me see.
We are at T plus,
hang on a second.
plus 5 minutes.
Wait, hang on a second.
I see the rodent.
Yeah, I see the rodent too, but in my lessons in aperture, this is why I'm saying that because I'm people are already getting mad at me on Twitter because I've been posting this. Wait, share screen. Here it is. I'm gonna play this.
Minutes, and the second stage is on its way to drop off Dragon into its targeted orbit. As a reminder, the first stage had an on-time launch today at 12:29 p.m. Eastern Time, just a few minutes ago, and a nominal ascent. As I mentioned earlier, you see those grid fins deployed on the left side. We are at T plus 5 minutes, and the second stage is on its way to drop off Dragon into its targeted orbit. As a reminder, the first stage had an on-time launch today. We are at T plus 5 minutes.
That is a rodent.
The second stage is on its way to drop off Dragon into its targeted orbit. As a reminder, the first stage had an on-time launch today.
That looks like a rodent to me. That looks like a rodent, but
That may even be a fox, James.
it could be a fox. It could be a neutrino, a nutria, right? Some of those are like 42 inches long.
I think it's a possum.
Or possum. Yeah, it could totally be. It could be a ferret. It could also be a ferret. A ferret would fit that mold. Or you could have an aperture that shows you it's ice. There is that. I know that because there are people out there that are claiming it's ice. And I find that weird because of all the fraud. There's just so much fraud. The Tesla actually wait a minute, let me mute Randy there.
Sorry.
There we go. The Tesla drove his car, that Roadster, he drove that up on the launch pad. He actually drove it up on the launch pad and put it on the rocket, which means that the tires were pressurized. Everything inside that vehicle was from the factory working that way. So I'm telling you, there's so much fraud that it's hard for me to look at that as ice. But I can show you on I've got people that are very disappointed in me, James. Very disappointed. I don't know if you think this is funny, James. Did you verify it? I've looked at several feeds and I'm telling you, there's nothing like this. We can't be clowning around right now. James is supposed to be a truther. This hurts the truth community. NASA has caught too many times fucking around. If this was true, he's really, really upset. And it's just the video. It's just the raw SpaceX video. That's all I showed. But it's painful. It's painful to doubt that. It's painful to consider that. In fact, shoot, what was I going to say? It's so painful that I would go so far as to argue that they're not creating space to lie to us. That's not how it works. It's not that they came out front and said, hey, we're going to lie to you about space. Let's see if you believe me. That's not how it works. Instead, there are people out there that have an appetite to believe in space. And the job of politicians is to provide a menu for whatever the appetite is. So it's not that NASA is lying to us as much as NASA is feeding off of our need for a lie. Because if you think about what space is, it's a giant vacuum where no voice can penetrate, no voice can travel. And it's like we need an environment that's a closed sphere, a closed ball. We need an environment that God cannot hear us. He cannot hear the things that we are saying because there's a vacuum in between us and him. So no sound can travel. We need an environment where we push away from God as far as possible, so far that he doesn't even exist, where we live on a complete random rock. Only then can we find ourselves. Only then can we get far enough away from the tree so that we have enough sun to sprout our own seed. So in a way, it's not that NASA is doing this to fool us. It's that we are asking to be fooled, and we will respond to anyone, whether it be NASA, whether it be Chinese, whether it be Elon Musk, whether it be, what's that shithole? The father of the rocket, the whole rocketry program. Oh God, that guy's name.
Parsons.
Thank
Parson.
you. Yeah, Parson. Whether it be Parson, someone's going to be there to feed that need, right? Whether it be a science fiction author, someone's just going to take it up to the next level. That's all. That's all it takes. And that's what germ theory is. That's what medicine is. That's what academia is. That's what all these theories are about. Women's studies in the time of Caesar, like it's divination. You're simply going to go into that with your aperture, and you're going to pull whatever it is you need to pull out of that and put it as a product. That's why Al Gore invented environmentalism. It was because there was a need. There was a need for us to feel like we are shameful, that we have a black, dirty carbon footprint. Someone saw that need and capitalized on it. It's no different than putting bait out, and whatever the fish eat, It doesn't mean that the fisherman created the appetite inside the fish, does it? It means that fisherman knew what to put in the water that would give the fish what it is they want. And that's a profoundly different way of looking at it, because now it's all back on you. Like now all this is back on you. They're not lying. We are looking for liars. It's a totally different. Just
So James,
yeah.
so you're like, I mean, so you're saying this is all by kind of grand design, and that the people who are behind this are just playing their role in this. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's both. I think that there are minions. Sometimes it gets weird here. I don't mean to pin me like, look at me. I'm just, it's not acting right. But I think sometimes there are minions that most of the world is minions, evacuated psychotic minions, like not psychotic in an insult, but just like clinically psychotic minions who are so evacuated they don't really have the empathy to feel bad by doing things. So they lick the taint. They lick the taint too deep, and now they're tainted. They're not able to come back from that taint. And then those are families like Rockefeller, like Vanderbilt. Those are families. And the reason why they're elite is because they're willing to defile themselves more than others. That's all elite means, is he who defiles himself more than others. I think when you are dealing with someone who has an addiction like that, like your Vlad the Impaler, like your royal family, some of them, like the Vanderbilts, when you're dealing with an addiction, you're looking at a family that is evacuated, which means the archetype, the demonic engine of this place, not demonic in a bad way, just the etheric energy of this place steers you when you become evacuated. And when you have billions of dollars, you're going to be steered by that. Bill Gates. Remember that the first dude that helped Bill Gates was another elite. And on camera, someone asked this other elite, sorry, I don't know his name, but they're like, what do you think about Bill Gates? And his response was like, not verbatim, but he's like, he's a bozo. Bill Gates is a bozo. He's completely incompetent. He doesn't know what he's doing. And he's experiencing the same pedestal evacuation that so many other elites are. And that's how you know that it's not really him driving. Bill Gates isn't driving. There's a deeper carnal quest inside of him. That's how I think it could be. It could be the other way around. It could be the other way. It could be the other way, and it could be both. Here's the other way. The other way is that there are Ragnar D'Anconio, Atlas Shrugged. There are giants who don't mess with us. They're humans like us, right? They're born without birth certificates. They don't have social security numbers. They are, just as there is epigenetic trauma, there is epigenetic wisdom, which means that there are families out there that are just badass, just badass, real woke, real always just elevated. They understand, their aperture is so wide open, and then they have kids. That's the concept of moonchild, by the way. Aleister Crowley wrote about this, right? He wrote about this idea of a moonchild where a man and a woman get together to create a sacred child. And to do that, they align the ritual, the location, the stars, the astrology, everything about that child was aligned to be harmonious with Thelema, with the laws of the universe. With it might sound scary to some of you guys, but it's Thelema itself is actually not a corrupt logic. It's a sovereignty kind of religion. Anyway, they came to consecrate a child in Thelema, and that child, every bit of its life was structured for its enlightenment, for it to be the most compassionate, the most it's very similar to Zarathustra, right? The Superman, which I know is also scary because you look at Hitler and all that stuff. But you see that they don't want you to see the truth. They want you to not see, right? Not see. They want you to not see the truth of this living cross, of the enlightened man, of the Zarathustra, the Superman, the full potential inside you, what Gospel of Thomas talked about. There was a suppression on that. And you could look at the suppression as this was caused by evil evacuated men that controlled the whole world, or it was caused by humanity's fear of reaching Superman. And that's why I keep talking lately about the difference between, it's not sovereignty we fear, it's vigilance. We look at how much vigilance we have to burn in order to keep our sovereignty. And most of us are like, I'm not willing to put that many calories in. I'd rather go back into the matrix. I'd rather go back into Plato's cave, right? Down my optic nerve, close my aperture, and watch SpaceX launches, and watch NASA, and watch Hillary and Trump. I think that's a more honest way of looking at it. It's not that the elite are controlling us. It's actually the opposite. It's that we want to be controlled, so we allow the door open for there to become someone like Rockefeller that constricts all the oil of the world to enslave all of us. Why? Why would we all want to be enslaved? So we're not doing things like this right now. So we're not having conversations like this right now. Instead, we're trapped in at work, which takes our mind off of it, which alleviates our responsibility. It alleviates our vigilance from sovereignty. I really believe that not only is true, but should be profoundly moving to your own aperture, to your own sovereignty as you think about that. These are important crutches, training wheels. So I'm not here to shame them, but also we have to realize when we're leaning on them, it needs to be painful for us to keep using them as it should be. But we've made it self-soothing instead. You know, we've given excuses. We've said, well, no, it's because of the pedophiles that we have to let go of our sovereignty. When really what's happening underneath is, I don't want my sovereignty. I would like to let go. Hey, pedophile, come here. Can you help me? Can you tell me we need more government? And that's why when you look at all the people that are choosing to riot, I think really what their spirit is saying, I don't want this sovereignty. I don't want you to trust me, then I'm not going to burn down the AutoZone if there's no cops around, right? That's literally what you're doing by setting fire to it. You're saying, I don't want to be trusted with this responsibility. So please don't give that to me. And how am I gonna make that happen? I'm gonna burn down this AutoZone. I'm gonna make it clear. And then you see a reaction, right? That a lot of people were like, burn it down. If you open up social media, you will see just hundreds and hundreds of video of it burning. But there are also videos of people that have showed up that are cleaning, that are undoing the riot, right? So this is a combination of energy that's fighting each other. This energy is at war with each other, right? What it's going to do. Do we want to be responsible, or do we want to not be responsible? That kind of thing. So,
and maybe that ties into logos, right, James? Because I mean, it seems to me like all these people like are figuring, hey, there's nothing. I got nothing else to do, right? Because I got nothing else. I'm either whatever. I see myself as a victim, and what do I have to lose? At least this is something that'll make me feel like I'm alive or something like that.
Yeah, and that's coping, right? That's soothing. We're either going to soothe or we're going to rise to the occasion. We can choose, right? And that's just an electrical field. One's current one way, one's current the other way. I'm not trying to simplify it when I say there's really no wrong action, because even if you're going to choose the wrong action, if you're going to I'm going to squirt, I'm going to burn down the AutoZone, there's actually nothing wrong with that. We are looking at people trying to learn how to ride a bicycle. We're looking at people that are trying to learn how to walk. Some of us are still trying to learn how to crawl. And all of those are legitimate, necessary, evolutionary parts of learning. Even the burning down the AutoZone, even the believing in NASA, even in the seeing of the ice around the fuselage or the rodent. It's all these are apertures that allow us. It's not even the aperture that's important. Here's what's really cool. It's not even the aperture that's important. It's is your aperture producing enough alchemy inside your personal rendering agent, inside your adrenals? Is it producing enough alchemy where you are producing a good product? When I say good product, I would say that product is logos, right? Have you chiseled the rough stone away into something that's logos? In fact, Freemasonry calls that the ashlar stone. Things can be rough or things can be smooth. And all this dissonance, all the lies that we're going through, this is the tumbler. We are in the rock tumbler, and we're either going to get smashed into separate parts or we're going to polish. There's nothing wrong. Either we'll be smashed into smaller parts, and those smaller parts will be polished, or we're going to be polished overall. But no matter what the fuck any of us says, we're in here and we're going to polish. You can cry all you want. You can claim that they're doing it to us. You can, I'm not saying you're doing this, of course, Randy, but we can complain all we want. That's why they made the rock tumbler. That's why it works that way. It's meant for us to complain. It's whoever made it opens the door and hears us going, oh fuck, oh shit, ow, fuck, oh, and is like, good, this is good. This is all working. That's Lord technology, right? And it's not even personal. It's trying to help. It's just really hard to convince that blue piece of gravel, hey man, this is going to be great. it's a rough.
And I guess it's James. It's like understanding the rules, right? So it's kind of like, okay, I understand the rules. Okay, now I can deal with it, right? Because I now understand the rules.
Yep.
Everyone thinks the rules are something individual, right? Or they have their own view of what the rules are. So once you understand what the rules are, which is, if you buy into this or not, or whatever you buy into, that gives you, that's a lot more soothing, I think.
It really is. It changed me tremendously. Once I understood that there was a process here, it fixes. Man, it's a real. Yeah, you're good to go. I think most of us are, and as long as you reach that determination naturally, I would call that a stabilization, an equilibrium. Your plane's been spinning, and you think you're falling, and now all of a sudden you realize, holy fuck, I've been flying this whole time. I'm not falling. I'm flying, and I can. Holy shit, I'm gliding. This is not at all what I thought. So yeah, it's totally the best apocalypse ever, right? Like that really says it all. You think you've been falling this whole time, and it turns out you've been flying. And the biggest thing that we have to fear is unawareness. That truly is our biggest enemy. Lies are not even our biggest enemy. Our biggest enemy is unawareness. Lies are an opportunity to see compassion. In other words, you can look at it like, why is that person lying to this other person and deceiving them and doing that and being so elite and being so psychotic? Or you can look at it as a prana economy. This is the gift of all. You're looking at what's bad happening and you're going, how is that an underground subterranean prana economy between those two people? It's not NASA lying to the people. It's people looking for a corn dog on a stick in relation to their cosmology. It's not the food court that is distributing food that's horrible for people. It's actually not. It's the people in the food court that are like, yeah, I don't want that cucumber. Do you have something on a stick? Do you have a piece of flesh on a stick? That's where their responsibility is. That's where all of this responsibility lies. And that's the beauty of atheism. Atheism is not wrong, because if you didn't have the privacy, that's what's so beautiful about not believing in God is having privacy. It's saying, I would like a moment to think about this. Therefore, I don't believe in you. And that gives you the emptiness. It gives you that surface tension. It's a lot like if you imagine a smooth pool of mercury, and God is underneath and he's flicking his fingers underneath this mercury, and all these drops are shooting up into the air. And as they go up in the air, that's us. We become who we are. And then we slowly come back and we join the mercury again. And when we join that pool of mercury, our identity as a drop is not there. The surface tension that held us together as we were coming up into the air is gone. That was an illusion. But while it was there, we pretended like it was everything. We pretended like all there is in this world is my drop of mercury. I have to keep it together, man. I have to keep it together. And there's a rise in your life, and then there's a fall in your life. And if we don't get farther enough away from the giant pool of mercury, we're not able to bring back to it this understanding, this new gnosis that we got as a droplet that wasn't even real, but it alchemizes us. It makes us more pure. It's brilliant plan by God. Hats off to him. I think he's really done well here. Hey, Michael, glad to see you.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Does anybody have any questions or comments or?
Yeah. I'm wondering what could be said of like heroism and you know, people trying to protect others from harm, etc. I don't know if I'm missing something.
Well, do you think heroism is good?
Huh?
What's your opinion on heroism?
Well, at times it's controlled by different interests, different forces, but in its pure form, it's a good thing. But you know, it requires, you know, you to interfere with another's will if they're causing harm to another person.
Yep. I think that hits on what I was just talking about with master and slave isn't what we think it is. The relationship between master and slave is not what we think it is. We look at the slave as being a victim and the master as being a perpetrator, when in fact it's a symbiotic relationship. And I can prove that because if you were to look back in history, you would actually see through the history of slavery that most of slavery did not involve chains. Most of slavery involved gelding of the psyche. So the people were evacuated enough to where slavery made sense to them. In fact, most everyone who came to America, even though it was already discovered, but most everyone who came to America ended up entering into some sort of indentured servitude. Didn't matter what color your skin was, and they had different words for them, all the way from slave to sharecropper to apprentice to what's the word? Indentured servant. There's like a whole caste system in place of a man would be wandering through New England, what we call New England now. I mean, fuck, they call it New England. And it's cold and it's winter. And he comes up and he goes, I'm cold. It's winter. I don't want to die. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Please let me into your house. And there you have a contract. For the next 2 to 7 years, I will be your house slave. In exchange for that, you will teach me your skill. If it's a blacksmith, you will build me some tools. If it's a horseshoer, whatever. That was alive. That was not a, hey, slave, do this. That was a mutually beneficial relationship between two people. And one of those people was gelded psychically. And we've had that system since Rome. Rome was a caste system built on slavery. Half the citizens in Rome were slaves, but it was a symbiotic relationship. People wanted slavery as a way of introducing themselves to civilization. So I say all that because when you start to look at heroes, you cannot look at a hero without looking at someone who needs saving. It's impossible to have one without the other. The hero is a response to a reaction from inside a metropolis, from inside of Gotham City, saying we are looking for a supernatural savior. That's what we want. Can you help us with that? So it wasn't Marvel introducing the idea of our weakness. It was our weakness asking for Stan Lee to come in and draw us a fantasy of a hero that comes in. Hero is the master of the person he saves. That's the slave. But hero and slave are, I'm not saying, I don't think that slave is worse than master. I don't think master is worse than slave. I think these are both the exact same thing. It's the same as, I don't think it matters if you hate Trump or if you love Trump. If you have that much passion for him either way, it doesn't really matter, because you're going to still end up consenting to a system by worshiping it with a vote. The same with a hero. So I think anyone who's a hero professionally is definitely a psychopath. And anyone who's a hero accidentally is being placed on a pedestal, which will ultimately cause them problems. It's not really doing them a favor if you think about it, because they're entering into, it's love bombing. You're either going to get the crook or the flail. You're either going to get shame or fame. You're either going to get praise or rebuke. And both of those are the same avenue that leads you to evacuation. You're the chosen person, you're evacuated. If you're the scapegoat, you're evacuated. It's the same kind of system. So yeah, I think hero is problematic. That's why I like what's happening with the great apocalypse, because what I see is I can't come in and tell you, hey guys, I'm JFK Jr. and here's the truth about vaccines and here's this and here's that and here's that. Why? Because everyone around me is going to say, oh, well, we need more JFK. You need to have some kids, and we need to put your sperm in a bottle, and we need to spread it to all the counties so we can have that. And the Kennedys, I'm just using them as an example. I don't want to make an argument one way or the other about the Kennedys, but just let's pretend that they are really lit and like elevated. They would see that this cannot work. I don't want to be the Messiah, right? I don't want to be the Life of Brian where I'm telling you it's not the shoe or the gourd. So what do? How do I inspire you as a hero? How do I be a hero without being a hero? That means I have to awaken you. I have to save you, but you can't like me. You can't thank me for it, which means I have to save you by causing you strife. It's freaking profound. But that would be the only way that I can think of where I could awaken someone without them turning me into a master, a hero, someone who's here to save them. They would start following my gourd or my shoe, unless I could be a merry prankster about it, unless I could trick or fool them in some way. Now we're talking. Now we have a vehicle for change. And that's what I think's happening. That's what I think's happening around us. And if you consider yourself an elite, like any man, you're concerned about your legacy. I would hope you are. If you have enough pride, you're going to be concerned about your legacy. You're going to want to leave something in the world, something good, something for people to remember you by. And we pretend that what we want to leave, that all the elite want to leave, is death and gore and enslavement. But I'm saying that there are other elite that would instead want to leave, how many flowers can I awaken? How many dandelions can I make bloom in this grass with the billions of dollars that I have? And I believe that there are definitely some of them that are doing that very thing with Building 7. I think Ben Franklin kind of gave it away when he was describing what he saw the country as a nation that didn't need laws, that was full of philosopher kings that simply understood what was best. They had the right thinking and the right understanding to it. If I interrupted somebody, let me know. I wasn't sure if that was your phone or what, but yeah, there's my mouthful.
But okay, yeah, I agree with that. But if we could bring it more circumstantially, like more immediate, say somebody was being, harmed in the street, and you were in the position to help them to kick off the attacker or whatever.
Right. So I would maybe suggest that it would not be heroic for someone to step in. I think it would actually serve in their best interest to step in. Because if they were not to step in, their adrenals would spend the rest of their life feeling the regret of their, I'm going to use the word cowardice, feeling the regret of their cowardice by not stepping in. And that is a penalty. That is a tax on their adrenals. Meanwhile, had they had stepped in, the profit from their adrenals of showing courage would be forever stored in the annals of their body. It would be a jackpot, in the prana jackpot, right? In the city of Vegas. In the city of Vegas nerve. Interesting. So it would not even necessarily be heroic. It would be in his self-interest too, which brings it back to the good, the logos. His system would benefit more from taking a knife wound than it would from walking away. If he could truly look at the math and see the math outside of his aperture and just analyze what is the adrenal math here. It's that kind of thing. It's a transaction. It's not a hero thing, because he would have PTSD the rest of his life, I think, by not acting, by not doing that. He would be a bitch the rest of his life. If he was a man, he would feel like I was a bitch that day. And that's, man, I'd rather have a knife wound in the leg than than having that, And in fact, he'd be looking the rest of his life, how can I fix this? Can I redeem myself? And even that would be good. It's funny. He still didn't do anything bad by not acting, because then he's setting himself up for a spiritual fall, which is fantastic, because when you have a spiritual fall, you now have the potential to gain that much more by redemption. So redemption is so crucial here. That's why I'm saying there's really no wrong actions in this case. If you're going to go out and burn the
Now,
Odyssey.
if you look at redemption electrically, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're regaining that system, right? You're regaining those chips, right? You went up to the table with your prana chips and you said, I'm betting it all that I'm going to step in and show courage here. And you don't. And you feel that you've lost those chips, but it's only because you don't have enough chips to get those chips back. Those chips are actually still in the pot. They're still there. And through redemption, you can go home and do Rocky and do push-ups and get your confidence up and write down stuff and think about what you did and go to the gym or whatever. And you're looking for that redemption moment. And that redemption moment could come 15 years later. And because you lost those chips and because you spent all that time in the gutter, the payoff is 50 times more than it would have been had you not had a redemption thing happening. So it's still a massive profit in the world of resonance, in the world of prana resonance, right? Because logos is always going to be a profit. I'm talking about like a net profit, like of prana. You could call logos anything that's generating that profit, that resonance of it, right? Anything that can resonate that, even if it takes not 30 years, but 3 generations, I'm avenging my grandfather's grandfather's grandfather. It could be that. And the payoff of that would be even more. Just like the the fall, the very first Vanderbilt that said, I will sacrifice the rest of my genetic line by participating in cannibalism in this ritual right now. Meaning I will experience a trauma that's so deep that it will affect me for generations. Or the less dramatic story, I will die with my alcoholism and have it genetically so bad that it will haunt my children coming. That is a redemption in waiting. It's all of these are redemptions in waiting, right? We bury this coal and the pressure of that pain turns it to diamond and we can pull it out again. That's literally alchemy, right? That's the entire process. So we need that calcination. We need the ignorance. We need the fall. We have to have that fall. That's why I'm saying Satan is the fall, Lucifer is the rise, Christ is the risen, man is the fall. So it's Christ, man, Satan, Lucifer. Christ, man, Satan, Lucifer, which I hope that doesn't offend anybody. I'm just trying to show that it's a hero's journey. It's an archetypal hero's journey. All these figures are around the cross, right? All of it is around the cross. It's all the four directions. It's all the four books. It's the four seasons. It's four horsemen of the apocalypse. All of it.
Wow, that's like intergenerational wisdom.
Yep. Epigenetic. I used to only talk about epigenetic trauma, and I realized how wrong I was because I wasn't discussing epigenetic wisdom. And I have epigenetic wisdom. I have things that my family gave to me. I know it. And we all do. You know, whether it be talents, whether it be whatever. Think about a spider is born knowing how to build a web. They're born knowing how to do that. That is epigenetic wisdom, in my opinion. That is epigenetic wisdom. That program is perfected over time because every time that spider has baby spiders, he's passing that vibration, that language of how to build a spider in time. And so you could see what that language would look like. In your head, you have a timeline, and in the timeline, you have movements. I'm going to move my leg here. I'm going to move my leg here. I'm going to move my leg here, and I'm going to squirt silk. I'm going to move my leg here. I'm going to move my leg here. I'm going to move my leg here. I'm going to squirt silk. It's a genetic memory. They do this, then this, then this, then this. It's no different than a mantra, right? It's no different than saying Hail Marys, give me 100 Hail Marys. Or it's no different than saying the rosary. It's no different than reciting your favorite meditation. But these are epigenetically stored. It's fascinating. And that's probably what language is. It's probably more to just like corn, just like all the crops we know, they're too advanced for them to be something that we could have developed so early. It feels like language is the same way. The language that we have in us, we almost come pre-installed with that software in some weird kind of way, like archetypally. I don't know. I'm speculating here.
Yeah, some of the Slavic people I follow also come to this wisdom. I mean, not the same prism as you're seeing it through, but you guys always get to this state after coming to the land, I guess, and because they live on the land, they have the ancestral wisdom. I forget what they're called. Like it's a ancestral wisdom thing. I can't really translate it right now, but it's the same thing. They get their knowledge from the land, and they do like a podcast too, and they talk about all this really deep ancestral wisdom.
Yeah, that's just like we have epigenetic wisdom from our family. The land has epigenetic wisdom too. That's why there's so many stories in the Bible about, right? Take these enemies, burn them for days, clean their bones, take their bones, smash them into a fine powder, spread the powder on top of their ancestors so that their ancestors will be forgotten. That's why man is the living soil, because the soil itself the salt and the oil, soil, salt, oil, soil. It's just like so right there in your face, all that information. And I think that's why I don't think human consciousness can exist in the exosphere, because we are just a embodiment of that salt and oil. We have to
I'm
be,
sorry, I have to get some water. I'll be right back.
we have to be close to it to really read into it and listen to it. Basically, it's important stuff.
So James, talking about salt and oil, did you connect with Benjamin?
Yeah, Benjamin and I are doing a show today at 6 o'clock on Jimmy Brent's radio show, and I'll post a link for sure.
Okay.
We kept running into issues, but we're definitely going to do another talk soon on top of that. But yeah, today at 6 p.m. we are. I wanted to do this today. Then at 3 o'clock today, I've got a meeting with Marty Leeds. We're going to do a live stream. And then at 6 p.m., I'll be doing a radio, not on my channel, but on Jimmy Brent's radio channel with Benjamin. So it'll be a cool day.
It's a busy day.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, we've got about 10 minutes left. If anyone has any comments or questions or whatever, now's the time for sure.
Yeah, I got can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is Michael.
Oh, there you are, Michael. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, just to comment on the what you guys were talking about a little while ago in terms of like what you should do or feel obligated to do in a situation that you might be witnessing where somebody is in sort of a tight bind where they might be getting hurt and you feel the need to act. I mean, what I might talk about I might not be able to explain it the best. It might kind of sound a little woo-woo, but I know it's helped me in the past because sometimes we might be witnessing something where we might be felt, where we might feel we need to help out, but it might. Especially with all this the stuff we see on TV with the riots and everything, and you see these people running around out there where they could seriously get injured. And sometimes it's not always, I would think, feasible to maybe help somebody in a certain situation. And I guess if we ever come across that, especially if we're watching this stuff on TV and we feel like there should be somebody there to help, I found that what helps is just sort of witnessing the situation in the aspect of love, and that's love with a capital L, not the human emotion of love, but I guess sort of the consciousness of love or the frequency of love, where we're witnessing all parties in that situation, the good and the bad parties, as just being of source, both being of the same thing, both being of a certain divinity, and in witnessing them in that understanding, it kind of helps to lift the entire situation. You're sort of changing your frequency and vibration, and then through sort of a co-resonance, it sort of lifts theirs, and it kind of brings a higher witnessing to the situation. And I guess it just recognizes them for what they are, of source. And a mantra I kind of use, and what's helped me in the past, is just sort of wording through it. And that's word with a capital W, which is essentially means the creator in action, because action is motion, and without motion, this reality couldn't exist. So this reality is word, capital W, which is the creator in action. And just wording through it. In other words, like if you witness a situation, you go, I am word through this situation. Word, I am word. And just sort of saying those words and thinking that thought kind of helps to lift you and the situation itself, I guess, just to a higher way of being. And for me, I feel like it's sort of somewhere underneath it just kind of adds this just sort of adds this true hue to it. And I wouldn't say makes the situation better, because I mean, what's happening is still happening, obviously. But I feel like somewhere deep down underneath, or energetically, it's sort of working in these people's lives to shift them in a better direction. I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of, I don't feel like I'm solidifying this thought enough, but maybe there's somebody out there that maybe James can help solidify my thoughts on this. But I kind of feel like that has some merit in a situation where we can't always help out, where we may feel like we need to.
Yeah. And I'm not actually saying this is what you're saying, but it does inspire,
Okay.
it does inspire me to say that you, as a witness, as a non-anonymous witness, as a witness with a face, is doing something. That is an action. I can prove it, because
Yes.
if you were to remove all the cameras from the security cameras, the crime would go up, and that shows you that presence itself is an action. And so if you do not feel like it's a safe situation where you could respond with anything else, that is, witnessing it is huge. Look at quantum theory, right? You're looking
Yes.
at, so is it going to be a particle or a wave? It's going to be a particle. When you look at it, it's going to change. And so that becomes an action itself. In fact, so much evil, right, happens because we don't look at things, because we don't find it comfortable to look at the truth of something, whether it be the things happening with the COVID thing, or vaccines, or school, or war, or our government, or everything. Evil is always going to be a not looking at something, which shows you what looking at something is, right? Shows you that awareness. To give it sight is hopefully to give it compassion, not consent,
Right.
but compassion.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you summed that up well. And I think even saying those sort of, just saying words out loud even helps to solidify that even more. Going back to where y'all started getting into talking about language having an effect, not only witnessing something, but also speaking as you're witnessing. I think that really kind of helps to dial it in.
Yep.
Yeah, because I mean, even after all that, you might still have to, do the thing.
Yeah.
But what you just said about voice is what I was thinking about all morning when I saw the video of the National Guard shooting those people on their porch in that like quaint little suburban neighborhood. They're moving in on your street, they're coming on your block, and they're yelling and hollering like they own the place. And all anybody's doing is just zipped up. Get in your homes, get in your homes. Nobody even asked the question, wait, why? Hey, why? Or, we're the people. We got to see what's going on. We're not going inside. What would they have said then?
Well, that's why so much of this comes down to electric field. That's why some people will print out these cards that say, I'm not wearing a mask because of my medical excuse, and there's nothing you could do with saying that. You can give that card to 10 people, and all 10 of those people can try and get into Costco, pass the same guard in 10 different universes, and I'm telling you, that guard is not going to let all 10 of them in. He's not. He's going to let in the ones that have the right energy field. That card doesn't actually get you in Costco, guys. That card gives you power, an electric field confidence charge to walk into Costco. I'm telling you, that's how it works. And when
He didn't even check it last time. I went to Costco 2 days ago.
yeah, it's these
You
are the
didn't even-
droids. These are not the droids you're looking for. It is a legitimate science. It truly is. I've seen this work on both ends. I've been the victim of it, and I've been the winner of it. This is exactly how it works. It's a different kind of confidence. I was 25, and I was driving through Nantahala. I had been camping, and I was speeding, and a cop pulled me over, and the cop was going to give me a ticket. And when he pulled me over, he asked me for my license. I gave him my license. He looked at the license and he looked at me, and he seemed to doubt that it was me. So he goes, how old are you? And I looked at him square in the jaw and said, I'm 25. And he looked down at the license, and he looked back up, and he gave me a ticket. And he gave me back my license, and I drove home. I made it all the way home. I was taking a shower, and it dawned on me I was 22. I wasn't 25. I was 22. It was like 3 years off. Told him the wrong age. I was I don't know why I told him the wrong. I wasn't trying to anything funny. I thought I was 25. I think it was because of the trip I was on made me feel like I was 3 years older. I said it with such confidence that despite the math, despite him having the math, it didn't faze him. I even saw that delay, and I'm telling you, in that delay, he was like 71. Which is pretty easy. And then 20, so 91. Well, wait a minute. It's not 1994 or 90, whatever it was. And it didn't matter. He believed me. He believed me because I had that right field. And you see this with fake IDs growing up, right? Where someone tries to get in the club, and it's always the guy. It's not the ID. It's the field. There's a field exchange around you. And it comes from several ways, right? Because it could be a field of intimidation. It could be that you have such a powerful field that the doorman simply, not intimidation like he's going to beat me up, intimidation like, oh fuck, even if I think you're not the right age, I bet it's a mistake I'm making. Like I can't picture anywhere in this situation where you would be wrong and I would be right. I think that's actually what's happening in the prana economy, that the person thinks that. And so they're willing to adjust their aperture to dial it down to fit whatever motif it takes that this person's right. And that there's no way that I could be more right than they are. What does that really mean? For me to be more right means I would have a stronger electrical field than they have, because I don't. That's the prana economy underneath. That's how you get a raise. That's how salesmen do it, right? Any kind of professional salesman is trained in the same way. I'm not saying he's using these words, but they're trained in the same way about the electrical. They're not called electrical, but their field's built up in this way. It's all science. All right. Well, guys, it's been fun. It's been an hour. You guys are actually welcome to stay on here too. I just wanted to at least have it where from 11 to 12 today I was here. And if you guys are interested in this idea, I'd be happy to do this every week. I want to find a time that fits with everybody. And so it could be that maybe I need to do an hour one. In fact, I think what I might actually do is maybe end this at an hour for me, like I would just sign out. But then maybe later on tonight, if I was to do another one or another day this week, I know there's people that are missing this just because of the time, they're in a different time zone. So.
That's great. Great. And thanks, James.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, James. Awesome.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. You guys have a good one. I'm going to just cut off the camera so I don't feel like I'm being looked at. And I'm going to walk my dog so he can go do something in the bushes.
All right. Thanks.
Enjoy your Sunday.
Later. Enjoy, guys.
How y'all doing? Peace.